Today, we head to North Beach, home to the Beat Generation, and some of the world's best restaurants, bars, and cafes. It's also the place where I spent my formative years as a designer, and proud to say 2 years at a 3-star Michelin restaurant, Koolz. It seems that no matter how long I'm away, when I come back, I always see familiar faces and someone waiting to greet me with open arms. North Beach has a very special place in my heart. I spent a lot of time here and I made a lot of friends. Today, I'm meeting with one of those friends, Joanna Lioce. She's a staff manager at Vesuvio Bar. Joanna's going to tell us a little bit about Vesuvio. She's going to mix us up a couple of cocktails and talk about her new book. Stay tuned, check it out. I hope you enjoy. So this morning I was in the mood for a particular cocktail, a 2-to-1 martini with an orange peel, one of my favorites.
2-to-1.
2-to-1.
Got it.
There we go.
Real waving at something. Just. Whew, the patience. The product is beautiful. Jameson?
This is a classic one. It's super smooth.
Oh, yes. Yes. Yeah, I wrote a book, and it's called Vesuvio. Picture me on the back. Everyone thinks that it's my coworkers and not me, which is really funny. Apparently, they kicked a guy out yesterday because he was too drunk, and he looked at my coworker Kelly and said, "Why don't you write another book about it?" Which is basically what this book is about. It's all verbatim interactions between me and customers. It's not a meeting of the minds, and it is not winning any Pulitzers.
It's not Alexander Solzhenitsyn.
It is not War and Peace. But it is in some ways, actually. So, yeah, it's just all verbatim interactions between me and customers that are disturbing to the current state of intellectualism, maybe all over the world. But it's a funny read. It's fit perfect on the back of your toilet, which was the intention. And I hope it makes people laugh if they read it. So that's it. Oh, and Leah Garchik wrote the foreword, which is cool, because she's a San Francisco lady, ex-Chronicle writer. So. There it is. Check out my lovely manicure as well. Don't look at my fingernails, please. You can get it at City Lights right across the alley. It is available at Medicine for Nightmares on 24th Street, at Fleetwood on Clement. It is a lot of places. It's at Bottle Bacchanal on the Castro, Needles and Pens on Valencia Street, and actually a couple bookstores in LA, Seattle, San Diego, and New Orleans.
Joanna, that's
a couple of spots. I kind of wrote it. It was supposed to be published by an actual publisher. Well, not an actual publisher. I have an actual publisher, but by a publishing company. And COVID happened, and they stopped doing all small pressing. So I ended up kind of self-publishing it with a friend who has a publishing company, and then I just do all the distribution. But it's kind of been fun. It's my first book, and I'm working on a book of fiction. So I'm sort of learning like the ins and outs of a lot of things when it comes to publication, and I'm kind of happy it turned out the way it did, because I literally just like get a tote bag and walk around with like 20 books and drop them off, and they write me a check and then I leave, and then they email me that they need 20 more and I drop them off. So it's kind of fun. Like it's like having a paper route, which I used to have. This is like not popular, but I like making Bloody Marys. Everyone hates making them, and I like making them, and I don't know why that is, but I just always have. And I hate making old fashions.
You hate making old
Also
fashions.
irrational. Much easier than a Bloody Mary, arguably, but I hate making them. I have my own reasons, but I'll keep those to myself. There's just something about an old fashioned. I'm also not the hugest fan of the mezcal Negroni these days, just because everyone, like all, maybe I shouldn't say that. I feel like all guys come in and they're like, I'm going to get a Negroni, but with mezcal. And I'm like, you didn't make that up, sir. That's like a common drink. And they're like, no, it's like my thing. And I'm like, no, it's not. It's like a full-on drink that you can get pretty much anywhere now. Sure, I'll make it for you. You don't need the, like, it's not secret society, but sure. So, you want a Bloody Mary? It's early. Why don't I make a Bloody Mary and then I'll pick one, you pick one. Bloody Mary?
Bloody Mary.
Okay.
Let's do it.
All right. The biggest lemon we have. There you go.
Classic Bloody Mary here Tuesday.
My name is Joanna Lioce, and I'm the staff manager at Vesuvio. I've worked here for 19 years, and I pretty much started bartending here and cocktailing here when I was 21, but I've worked at a bunch of other bars throughout San Francisco, the Right Spot, Bottom of the Hill. I currently work at the Latin American Club and many other places. But yeah, I've been at Vesuvio for almost 20 years, and yeah, it's a good bar. We have a cocktail list. We have house cocktails. We've definitely, I think we try to adapt with the times. To an extent, obviously, we want all sorts of people to come here, and we don't want to be. I think there is a level of being sort of snobby when you exclude all of that as well. I think anything exclusionary is sort of snobby and like not the most welcoming for people.
I 100% agree with that.
Yeah, I just think people, I think it's sort of, there's something about the service industry where you want to accommodate everyone and you want everyone to be able to get something that they will like, in my opinion. And I think there is sort of this snobbery on both sides of like, we only make things like this or we're only super divey. And I think you can find a medium, and we try to do that. That being said, we don't overcomplicate a lot. We have a bunch of house drinks that people really enjoy that I don't think you can get in other places, although I'm sure you could. I mean, they're 3 ingredients generally. So we just try to make like good, like solid drinks for people and give them a good time. So I drink like vodka martinis and Sauvignon Blanc. I'm like a 900-year-old woman, and I'm fine with that. I think, cocktails, I think the internet and the whole cocktail nation thing has gotten a lot bigger, which is great in a lot of ways and really funny in a lot of ways. Like I had someone come in the other day and it was extremely busy. We had a show outside, so it was a very, very busy shift. And a woman asked me for like a peach blossom something. And I just said, I don't know what that is. And she's like, oh, well, it's I got it at this one bar. And I said, well, we don't have anything really peach. Like, I don't think we can make that. And I think people just sort of don't understand that not every bar is the same and that there are different levels of bars. We're kind of a mix between, we make cocktails, but I would say we're sort of more neighborhoody, divey bar. Yeah, I think a lot of the stuff that's changed is more on sort of the technology side of things. When I first started working here, we literally had like tickets, and I was a cocktail waitress when I first started, and we would write down all of our drink orders and then yell them to the bartender, and they would make them. And then at the end of the shift or throughout the shift when we had time, we would like read off the ticket and then give them cash. We were cash only. We didn't have any computers, anything like that. It's obviously developed over time, and it is, although I miss the cash only, write it down, cash and carry days. I don't know. I just enjoyed that. I thought it was nicer. But anyway, it's much more efficient now. We have computers, but If you would have told me like 20 years ago that I would have an entire group of people that when they get one drink, they hand me their phone and want to pay with their phone, I would have said like, I won't be here for that because that sounds awful. But I'm here for it, and it happens all the time. 3 or 4 people, and they will write in the notes on their phone their drink order and then just hand me their phone. And
Is it a language barrier?
no. And the best part of it is I would say 8 out of 10 times it's like 2 vodka sodas, an Anchor, and a trimmer. And I'm like, you couldn't remember the like 2 vodka sodas, an Anchor, and a trimmer from like here to literally here. So Vesuvio turned 75 this year, and it was opened by a guy named Henri Lenoir, who was a club owner in New York. And he basically moved to San Francisco and decided to open this bar as a place for like artists and weirdos to hang out. And then 70 years ago, also this year, City Lights Bookstore opened. And as a result, a lot of those guys would come over and visit Lawrence Ferlinghetti and like his then little bookstore. And then they'd all come over here and drink. And then because they were kind of drinking in here, a lot of musicians would hear about it, and it sort of snowballed from there. So the Jefferson Airplane hung out here for a long time. Bob Dylan has hung out here. We still have a lot of famous people that come in just because that's kind of oddly like the vibe of the place. Like it just attracts all different sorts of people. But yeah, that was sort of what put it on the map, was that people like Allen Ginsberg, Jack Kerouac, Lawrence Ferlinghetti, Kenneth Rexroth, and a lot of women of the Beat generation as well would all come in here and drink a lot, from what I understand. So we are open 11 a.m. to 1 a.m. Sunday through Thursday, and 11 a.m. to 2 a.m. Friday and Saturday.